Well, this is Henry, and once again, it's been quite a while since I posted anything, and I did get some comments on my diatomaceous earth thing, and so I'm going to go on and I'm going to sign up. I want to show what I've been working on here is a sort of a lifelong thing. I've always loved bronze, and I've always loved iron and steel, and I love the ancient age where they were both around, mostly bronze. So anyway, I made this stuff for my own bushcraft, and I realized the axe has a pretty short handle, but the first thing I made was this knife, and it's designed like a sushi knife where it's beveled on one side, but I made this out of a file that I brazed on, and so you can see some of the file teeth are still left. And what it means is that that's a flat side. You bevel down, and every time you sharpen this, you expose some of those file teeth, so it's always serrated. It's a very sharp knife. This tomato was vine ripened and came from the garden this morning, and this doesn't have any trouble just cutting very fine slices, even a piece of my thumb at one point. So that's bronze that was puddle worked on a brick with a jeweler's torch, and it does have a flat side because it was supposed to be molded. And I started off with some fanciful ideas of I was going to slip mold, and well, a glass kiln that somebody loans me time in just doesn't really get hot enough to melt bronze. So I took some of these fanciful designs that I had made out of wire, and I just puddled them out using bronze. Like I say, I brazed on this. It's a really nice knife, and it's based on an ancient design about 5,000 years old, where it hangs on your finger when you're working, and you flip it up when you want to work, and then you can just flip it back down, and then you won't lose it in the leaf litter and stuff like that, because your kitchen just might be a fire and a pot and a flat log to cut on. And the reason that I put this high carbon insert is I wanted it to stay sharp, because it wasn't like a replica or a toy. This is a bushcraft knife, and I fully intend to use it. This is a scythe, and once again, it's got a little image there, the Corn King. I don't know if you can see that. It was puddle molded, this side solid to give it some strength. It's based on, looks like a grain. Again, it's that Shang Dynasty kind of thing where it hangs on your finger when you want. And whereas I took this to the summer solstice celebration yesterday, and I cut some wild oat grass. It's an excellent saw, and this one is hollow ground on both sides. But I did once again. I added something. I etched these iron pellets, and then I pounded them with a hammer, and I brazed them into here so that when you polish this blade, it exposes this alternate of bronze and steel, so it makes it serrated. And this I would bring with me for bushcraft. It's not very heavy, and I would use this to cut reeds or things for bedding, grasses, harvesting roots, things like that. And once again, if you're going to have this down underwater and you're going to be sawing away on something, you're going to have your finger stuck through it so you won't lose it. And after I think it took 8 of those little oxygen bottles in my jeweler's torch to puddle these. And the last thing I made was, and I have to admit, I wanted to recycle the last of that dollar store file. And again, I wanted a sharp edge, and bronze doesn't really keep an edge. So this is a bronze axe in a hardwood handle that was one of the trimmings from one of the trees here. And that's made out of the tang, and it's a barb. And the reason for that is that if you tie a rope through this hole and you harpoon something with it, you can hold on to the rope and you won't lose this. Also, if you were going to open up a coconut or something like that, you just wanted to open up one of the eyes, you could use this. and then just twist it. You can punch holes in leather and stuff like that with that. I didn't want to make a real point, so I kind of ground it off in such a way that it's got a little bit more metal in the edge. And I did take this down a little too much, I think. But then I brazed in this piece of file steel, and I beefed it up. It started out, it was like this, and I beefed it up, and then what I do is I flip over and I fill it in. And it takes a body grinder to take this stuff down. That's why I really would like to be able to cast this stuff, but I have chopped things with this, and for uses as a utility hand axe around the campsite, I would find this extremely helpful. And the fact that it's a file steel blade and a file steel point means that when you put an edge on this, it'll keep the edge. And I was cutting some hardwood sticks earlier and trying to test out this hafting. Like I say, this isn't that long, but it's what I had available, and I just finished the axe head, and I really wanted to put it on and see what it would do. And I just I'll move it up here. That's the bushcraft thing. Like I say, this is was a vine ripe tomato from the garden this morning. And just to give you an idea, once again, because with a sushi knife, flat on one side, beveled only on one. You can sharpen it with a stone. You always flat side down, lefties, righties, whatever your thing. But I can cut through this vine ripe tomato with thin enough you can see the blade through it. So you know. Now the thing is, the bronze part of this, the reason I like also the fusion of bronze and steel is they're both alloys, and they both bring something to the table. There's a resiliency to bronze and an ability to pound it back into shape. And where high carbon steel is brittle, this thing backs it up with an edge. And I didn't intend this to be balanced for throwing, because I would never throw this, but it did come out that way. And anyway, you can see it does exactly what I need. It's not fancy. It doesn't retract. I think I'm going to make a scabbard for it out of a piece of heat bent elk horn or something. I mean buffalo horn. So I can't use an antler, they're solid, but I can use a horn and deform it. I may put a little bit longer haft on the axe, but for right now and for working it through, this is held in because it's tapered, and then I pounded through a peg here, which was going to be the original spike, but yeah, this worked out better. I was going to use buffalo hide and all that, but this is now just wood and bronze and steel on a hardwood handle from a live tree. It's just like, I don't know, 2 years old or something. So anyways, it's one of those things where I may only use it a couple times a year, but when I do use it, well, it was born right here. Thanks a lot.